It's now time for the Coaches Show on News Talk 1250 KBRF and KBRFradio.com, presented by the Viking Cafe and brought to you by the Minnesota Motor Company, Lake Region Healthcare, Nelson Auto Center, Quality Toyota, and by Running Stitches. Now for the Coaches Show presented by the Viking Cafe, here's Craig Olson.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the program. It's the Coaches Show presented by the Viking Cafe, and we're back after 2 weeks off. Dave Bishop is our engineer today, and Randy Hansen's here, swim coach from Fergus Falls High School, and I just had the feeling, Randy, as we were leading up to, okay, you're on the air thing, it's got to be like a swimmer on the blocks waiting for that gun to go off, you know?
Yeah, that's a good analogy. Yeah, I think you're probably right.
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt there.
Right.
So I was waiting for the splash after it,
yeah.
but it didn't happen. So,
Yeah.
But we welcome you to the show. And today, before we get too far into it, if you would like to be eligible to win a $25 gift certificate from the Viking Cafe, here's what you do. You text the word Viking to 321-1926. That's 321-1926 Viking, and you could win a $25 gift certificate from the Viking Cafe, and we'll make that drawing later in the program. Also today, we do have a doubleheader of Spartan basketball, our first doubleheader action of the season. Spartans at home against Riverland, 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock. Jason Retzoff will be at the college. That's on 977 FM today. And Otter Hockey, boys hockey against Northern Lakes, Mark Johnson at the Community Arena on KJ Country at 2 o'clock. All right, now swimming.
Right.
And you had Randy and your coaching staff and kids had a couple of weeks off from competition.
Yeah.
Now you're back into it. First of all, before we get into the specifics of this last week and the competition, how did the break go? And a break, I use that lightly because there was probably no break. You probably worked pretty hard.
Yeah, that's kind of what Christmas is for swimming. It's a time for, not as many meets maybe, and just spend some extra time in the pool because we're not really constrained by evening activities or anything. So yeah, so we spent a good chunk of every day, and people ask, "Oh, how was your break?" I was like, "Oh, a lot of pool time," which is fine. I'm not complaining because that's what we need to do. So yeah, it was really good. We had a meet rescheduled that was canceled before we left for Christmas break, so we had that on that first Tuesday right before Christmas, and in St. Cloud, and that was fine. But otherwise, it was some really, really good practice times, and the guys worked hard, and it's paying off for sure.
So you came back with that West Fargo border battle,
right,
and you wound up in fourth place, but you were the top Minnesota team.
We were fourth place by 1 point, and so there's top three get a plaque. So that was a little disappointing, but that's okay. And but yeah, we swam really well. And one of the things that's been nice this season so far is the St. Cloud team's really, really good, and so that forces us to be really fast in the pool too. And then that West Fargo meet, West Fargo is just a lights out team. And there's some other really good swimmers, and so we are, forced to swim fast as well if we want to compete. And so we've had two really good high quality meets back to back, and I think that's part of the reason that we've seen some of the times that we've had so far. But yeah, that's a fun meet, and it's a great pool, and it's just a good opportunity to see where we're at this time of year.
Well, and one of the comments that you had from that meet was you were really excited about your free relays. You did very well. Yeah,
it kind of came down to, if we were going to get third or fourth, we had to beat Fargo Davies by 2 places. West Fargo was heads and tails above everybody, so it was a fight for who was going to be next, and we ended up second, but Davies ended up third. So that's why we ended up losing by 1. But that's fine. But we still swam our best time of the season, which is great, and it's a pretty solid time across the state right now. We're pretty happy with where we're at. We got a lot of work to do. A lot of teams are going to keep, getting better too, but we're really happy with where that group is, and they've had some really nice swims.
How good a competition was it for somebody like Reese Hansen, who was second in the 100 back and had a PR in his other event? How good is it to have that kind of competition that you don't normally see?
Yeah, really good. Well, and it depends on what you're, like St. Cloud, they've got 2 state champions, and so if you're swimming next to them, that's going to help too. But as a whole, yeah, you get some of those top swimmers, and that goes for not just Reese, but Matthew and Jaden and all those guys and Landon. I mean, it just makes you swim faster, but you want those. you want those good swims and that guy next to you that even if they're going to beat you by a body length or more, they're making you go faster. And no disrespect to, a dual meet, we had Sauk Rapids and they're not the deepest team, and that's harder to swim fast against some of that. So meets like that are that high quality with those guys that are just studs are really important. So that's one of the reasons we like that meet so much.
Jaden Kopinski had personal best times. Ethan Strandy had personal best times. That's kind of becoming the normal theme here. Is that unusual for this early in the season?
Well, it makes us a little nervous. We're dropping time and we're swimming, faster than we were this time of last year, which we should. They're older, stronger, and so on. So like you mentioned Ethan Strandy, he PR'd in the breaststroke, but he also, PR'd on Thursday against Sauk Rapids. He's swimming, if it's not faster than his section time that he swam at the section meet last year, it's darn close. So that's pretty amazing right now. So he's come a long way. And those other guys are kind of the same way. They're all, within a second or two. Lucas Toole's fly and 100 or 200 IM is faster than he swam at sections last year. So that's a really good problem to have. So Coach Jason Zozel and I have always kind of like, are we training these guys hard enough? Are we resting them too much? And I think we're training harder and we're putting higher expectations on them, and they're putting higher expectations on themselves. So we're not going to change what we do, but we kind of look at each other like, oh my gosh, are we doing everything right? Because we got to make sure we're training the right way, and I think we are, and it'll be fine. But it's been fun just to see all those times drops already.
Is there a trickle-down effect here? Are we seeing some of the younger guys, making strides maybe at a faster pace because of what is happening with the older guys?
Yeah, for sure. And some of those guys are just maturing physically and mentally. You talk to them about technique and you can see it finally clicks. We want you to do this or this and not that. And they're like, you can see it makes sense to them now because they just have that experience. But yeah, when we put times on the board for a set, and we kind of separate sometimes. Okay, the older guys are going to do it on this time, and the younger guys are going to do it on this time, and they're really impressing us with how fast they're going as well too. So it is kind of a rising tide lifts all boats kind of thing. That it's just we're just across the board, we're just seeing lots and lots of great time drops.
I would guess, and maybe I'm totally all wet here, to use a swimming phrase here, but I would guess that you're pretty locked into your lineup. Maybe there's a few things you're going to do differently, but not a lot of changes coming. But you did get a chance the other night in your duel to do that, mix people around a little bit.
Yeah, Sauk Rapids is not a real big team or deep team, so we knew if we took care of business we could win that one. But it's a great chance to swim guys in some different events, and so we did mix up some relays and mix up some guys in events, and that's just good mentally for them, so they aren't doing the same thing all the time. Things are pretty well locked in, so like Reese obviously will swim, backstroke at the sections. Lucas Toole will swim 200 IM at so some of that stuff is pretty well figured out. The medley's pretty well set. 4 free relays pretty well set. 2 free relay, there might be some flux in there yet, but things are kind of coming into focus. And you want those relays to kind of gel, so we don't want to start messing with them too terribly much because it's kind of becoming a little more clear who's going to be on those things. And but yeah, you never just know, because there's always somebody that might surprise you and like, oh my gosh, you can swim that and you can do that really well. Guess what? You get to do it again and again. So, like we had a couple ninth graders, Lennon Highland swam the 200 IM against Sauk Rapids. No, he swam it at the border battle, and then he did so well, and we needed somebody against Sauk Rapids. So guess what? He got to do it again. Yep. So that kind of thing is it's a nice problem to have, I guess.
And I've said it for years, too, about the Otter Swim program. You always have a lot of versatile swimmers, so you can move people around, really, and feel confident or get a decent performance, it seems.
Yeah, we have there's always strokes that are not, we don't have a lot of depth on. We could always use a few more breaststrokers or butterflyers, but we have enough guys that can do that. And, that kind of shows in the IM,
right?
Where you have to do all 4 strokes, in one event. And we generally do pretty well. We're sitting pretty nice with, Lucas and Jaden, and Ethan Strandy can swim that really well. And Isaac Rott can swim that really well. And like I said, Lennon's only a 9th grader, and so he's learning, but I don't know that he's going to swim IM all the time, but that he can do it. And so we have a lot of guys that are in that boat, and that really does free up a lot of things for us, because we know they can swim. Like Isaac Rott's going to swim the 100 fly, and even though he hasn't done it this year, I know he can do it in the IM, so therefore he can do it in the 100 fly, and that helps our lineup a lot.
This was your first home duel of the season. You kind of treat those home duels like gold, don't you? Because you don't have a lot of them.
Yeah, we'll have 4 or 5, which is nice. But yeah, you don't want to ever give those up, and you want to put on a good show for the fans and parents and things. And so we try to give it our best, and it is fun. It's just a fun atmosphere, and our pool is sort of nostalgic. It's from the '60s. It's got kind of some funky things about it, and people like coming there. And it's fast. It's a great pool, but it's yeah, you just love having a home meet, and then you don't have to travel in the winter either, which is all right.
That is nice, yes. Yeah. And, of course, that observation area up above is great for the casual fan who isn't needing to be right on top of the action.
Yeah, Coach Uvas used to do with this a little more than I do, but he'd like to go sit up in the stands and watch practice sometimes, because you really can see a lot. If you know what to look for with technique and stuff, you get kind of that eagle-eye view. Sort of like the old crow's nest in football, right? You can see up above there, so it's kind of like that. But it's a nice place, so we love it.
Well, a great dual win at home. You look on paper and say, well, this should be a win, and you want to win those, right? You want to be convincing in those.
For sure, yeah. And, we kind of look at, it's nice with, online stuff now. It's not a total guess on what other teams are doing, so you can, really see, all right, we know that these guys can swim this, and so you can kind of plan for those things, and there's not a ton of surprises that way. Yeah, so you want to take care of business, but you want to make sure that people get a little variety too. So that was nice to be able to do that against Sauk Rapids.
We're at that time of year too, and it always happens in the middle of your season because of the months that you are involved, where sicknesses are going around. I don't know if you've been feeling it at all on your team, or if everybody's staying healthy.
Yeah, well, we had to, at the border battle, we had to scratch Matthew out of the 500 because he was a little bit ill during the meet, before the meet, and so that didn't help. And I don't want to say that he caused us not to win that. That would have been very, very helpful, and it is what it is. I mean, he would have done it if we would have really needed it, but so what? I didn't want to put him back, and if we win a plaque, that's nice, but who cares? So I'm more interested in the end of the year. We missed Lyman Vadava on the Thursday meet. He was homesick. I told him it would have been nice to have you, but we didn't need you. So that was all right. So it was good for him to rest. But so far, knock on whatever here, we've been fairly healthy, and we talked to the guys about control what you can control. Wash your hands, wear a hat, eat and you sleep, all those things, because sickness is going around, and so far we've been okay.
Okay.
Yeah, cross your fingers.
This week's busy.
It is.
You're coming off a light week, and now all of a sudden you go, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday.
Yeah, and we've already told the guys, too, we're going to really work hard in practice. We've pounded them Monday, Tuesday, Friday, and so because we knew we could take care of business, because next week, we go to Brainerd on Tuesday, Alec comes to our place on Thursday, and then we go to True Team, which is a really important section preview meet on Saturday at Morris. So there's not a lot of super great training, but we also can't take the week off. So I've got to spend some time this week, since I'm not watching the Vikings, spend my time figuring out what that week looks like and when we can lift and how that's all going to shape out, because we got to keep working, but you can't go, full speed the whole time. So
give us a little preview on Brainerd and Alec. What do they bring to the table?
Yeah, Alec's AA now, so we don't have to worry about them at sections, so that's helpful. But they've got some pretty good depth. I would say, just on paper this morning, looking at it, Alec's probably a little. Well, Alec did beat Brainerd, I believe, or it was really close anyway. So they had a nice dual meet. Brainerd's got some good swimmers. They're not as deep as they used to be, but and I think they'll beat us with their depth. But we've got guys that are better in some of our events, so I have to kind of see how we want to tackle that. Again, trying to get to keep our relays together, our top relays, so they continue to gel, but maybe move some people around to some different things if possible. If we know we can't really win it, then it's really nice to do that. But I don't know. It's you also kind of want to balance. I don't want guys swimming all their same events for 3 meets in a row. That gets a little bit old too. So it's going to be a crazy balancing act this week, but we'll figure it out.
And Otter fans, you can watch the Otters against Alexandria Thursday at the Kennedy Pool, and next Saturday when you're in, we'll go through the lineup maybe for the True Team and talk a little more about that event.
Sounds good. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Randy.
You bet. Thank you.
Have a great weekend.
Thanks.
All right. No Vikings, but that sounded good. I don't have to stress this weekend. Watch a lot of other good football, maybe. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. Remember to text the keyword Viking to 321-1926 for your chance at a $25 gift certificate from the Viking Cafe. We'll have more on the Coaches Show after this break. The Coaches Show presented by the Viking Cafe.
The key to a great meal is at the Viking Cafe of Fergus Falls. The Viking Cafe with Minnesota's best omelet, manhole cover pancakes, and burgers that will fill your appetite. The key to a great breakfast and lunch is at the Viking Cafe, downtown Fergus Falls.
It's the indoor sale. Of course we moved all the vehicles inside so you can shop in comfort.
It's the indoor sale.
Of course we have cider and donuts.
It's the indoor sale. Of course Blake is practicing his dance moves.
It's the indoor sale.
Of course we have balloons.
It's our indoor sale. Of course all of our used inventory is on sale. And it comes with a Minnesota Motor $300 gift card.
It's the indoor sale at Minnesota Motor Company, Saturday, January 17th.
Lake Region Healthcare knows what all coaches know. It takes tons of teamwork, great amounts of grit, and heaps of hustle to triumph. Lake Region Healthcare, supporting and celebrating our high school athletes.
Nelson Auto Center in Fergus Falls is proud to sponsor area athletics. Nelson Auto knows the value of a good team, and we'd like to invite you in to meet our team. See how our team takes care of you and your family. Nelson Auto Center in Fergus Falls.
Running Stitches Embroidery in Fergus Falls is West Central Minnesota's leader in high-quality screen printing and custom embroidery. Whether you're looking for a one-of-a-kind custom job or need to outfit the entire team, Running Stitches Embroidery will be there when you need them.
What's your number? I drove 60 miles to get a great deal from Quality Toyota. I drove 45 miles to get a great deal from Quality Toyota.
The key to a great meal is at the Viking Cafe of Fergus Falls. The Viking Cafe with Minnesota's best omelet, manhole cover pancakes, and burgers that will fill your appetite. The key to a great breakfast and lunch is at the Viking Cafe, downtown Fergus Falls.
Welcome back to the program. We're going to talk boys hockey, and speaking of boys hockey, they are home today against Northern Lakes, varsity at 2 at the Community Arena. Mark Johnson's going to be there. Of course, if there's a hockey game, Mark's always there.
Mark is there. He's busy.
He was there last night for the girls and today with the boys. And you can catch it on KJ Country 96.5 FM and streaming live through the Fergus Now app and the KBRF YouTube channel. Mike Donahue is the head coach.
I will say Bob did a great job pitching in over the holiday tournament when Mark was down with the girls, and I know Mom's listening, and she said that Bob, he sure did a great job filling in for Mark. So we know Mark has big shoes to fill, but Bob sure did it.
He is a great backup. There's no doubt about it. And he steps up to the occasion. And now, you know, you wore him out so much, he's down in Mexico. He had to go for a vacation after that. So
people are going to be signing up for our games, I guess.
Exactly, right. Well, Mike, that was a long time ago. It seems longer ago than it was, doesn't it? Because you haven't played since the end of that holiday tournament.
It's been a long break. It was a long break leading up to the tournament, and now another long break after.
I guess there are some good points to that. Guys that are hurt maybe have more time to, recover, and you can give the guys a couple days off if they're, dealing with some nagging injuries or whatever. But boy, it does get long, and it gets hard to keep them interested sometimes at practice.
Yeah, that's for sure. I know leading up to the holiday tournament, just with where Christmas kind of fell, making sure the guys had family time and travel time to spend with their families. The other wrinkle in the hockey world over that was the World Junior Tournament being hosted down in St. Paul and Minneapolis, and we had kids excited that had tickets to go down to there, so you're kind of juggling that schedule to allow that. Those are important times, and probably who knows when that'll happen again, where they'll have that kind of opportunity. So we needed to make sure that the kids can embrace that. And New Year's, we gave them the solid 4 days off right after our holiday tournament. That was a grind going into that, and kind of hit the road running on Monday.
So let's kind of revisit that holiday tournament for a couple of minutes here. And 3 games in 3 days at this stage of the season. How does that test your team, and what do you take from an event like that where you have to come ready all 3 days?
Yeah, you do. It's a big physical and mental challenge, especially leading up. We didn't have a full practice squad, for a week and a half leading up to that, just with the various things going on. And so showing up to that first game, you're a little bit worried on how are we going to be ready to go when that puck drops? And, Albert Lee came in. They had a good squad. They were pretty deep. They had a top line with a lot of skill. They had a couple defensemen that could really play, move the puck, and were real difference makers. And they came out and competed. Albert Lee, you tip your hat. They won a lot of wall battles, a lot of the 50-50 pucks. They came out and won those battles. And those were the things that when you don't have a real high compete level in practice leading up, and it was hard to set that stage through our practices. I don't think we were just fully ready to go that first game.
Yeah, Albert Lee scored a first period goal, but that was the only goal of the first period, and then they scored again to go up 2-0. Was there a point in that game after that, Mike, where it just kind of turned in their favor big time, and you were struggling to get a goal, or were you getting shots that were making it possible for you to get on the board, or was it even hard to get quality shots?
Well, we made it 2-1, and then you're feeling okay about that situation. It's 2-1 going into the third period. One of the unfortunate things, we had lost Luke Johnson partway through that second period. So then you're juggling your lines a little bit and trying to find some chemistry then amongst the other guys, which is fine at that point of the year. And Luke's health was most important at that point. And then the snowball kind of picked up steam there in the third period. We took a penalty, they scored. We took a 5-minute major, they scored 2 or 3 on that one, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, you've given up 3 power play goals. You go from a 2-1 hockey game, all of a sudden it's 5-1, and trying to recover at that point is it's challenging.
Well, and they did get you in that one 6-1, but then the second day, boy, you came out on fire. You scored 8 goals, had a lot of different guys contribute in the 8-3 win over Shanley. It's always fun when you have a game like that where so many kids are involved in the scoring.
And you talked about some of those things from the holiday tournament, a lesson learned. It's easy to forget about that game the day before. A quick turnaround. Let's get back after this. Let's had great video sessions before that. I think learned a lot of lessons on what it means to compete and how to compete. And it's not always that first effort on the puck. It's what do you do. That guy might get the puck, but how determined are you to get it back? Or you might get knocked down. How quick are you going to get up and recover from some of those situations? And it's like I said, it's that second level kind of compete that we talked a lot about. It's okay to lose that battle, but we better re-engage in that thing right away and then see what happens. And our compete level was through the roof, I thought, that night for pretty much the whole 51 minutes.
Well, and you had pretty good goaltending, and you needed it because Shanley had a lot of chances too.
Yeah, and I guess, I don't know, we just expect that. That's Holdy, that we know what he's going to bring. So that's, once again, I've said it time and time again, it's just comforting. Those guys know they can make a mistake. Holdy's going to make those saves for you, and we just try to remind the guys it's hard to score. Don't make such a glaring mistake that you make it easy for the other team to score. We have Holdy, so that adds another layer of difficulty for the opponent, and stay patient, stay within our structure, stay within our system, and challenge them to make good plays to have to score a goal.
Parker Tilke got your first one against Shanley. How good is it to have Parker back and healthy again?
Yeah, he's just his athleticism up there. He brings some size. He's playing with Luke and Caden, and they need a little size, and he brings that. He brings a little different edge to the ice that every team, I think, kind of you need a guy that's going to bring some edge to your team, and Parker can do that. And, it's just a matter of dialing him in once in a while with his refocusing a little bit. But, like I say, those are some intangibles, I think, that every team needs, kind of that guy. And just his competitive nature goes a long way and spreads across the team.
Is that edge you're talking about inherited? Do you know? Maybe.
There could be some genetics there.
Okay. All right. You had a lot of different guys score. Hunter Welly scored, Keaton Babolian scored, and the young guys, Tanner Donahue and Luke Johnson, are getting more and more involved, it seems, in what's happening offensively. A lot of guys made good steps in that game.
Yeah, and we had a big shakeup, I think, with our lineup that night. We inserted some different guys. You mentioned Keaton Babolian. He's played a lot of JV minutes. That was his first varsity game with significant minutes, and he's done a great job at JV. And you look at guys that want to step up and kind of get an opportunity and take advantage of it, and he sure did that. And that started with a great wall play from Zach Pierce on a breakout play, and he's one we're working on his compete level a little bit, and he's, what do I need to do? And I said, that play you made on the wall right there, that's exactly what you need to do. And he's up to Corbin Profit on that one. And, Corbin was coming down at a tough angle to score a goal. And we talk about we got to find a way to get the guy going to the net, the puck. And he made a great shot off the goalie's right leg pad. And Keaton going to the net like we want to. And he's able to just put that in the open net. And those are the little details that you talk about in a game. If we don't win that wall battle in our end, Keaton doesn't score that goal. So everyone has to be able to contribute when they hit the ice.
That's good. Good to see. I don't want to forget anybody because Brody Cryan was active in the scoring. Chase Johnston was in there. Brant Sherman. He's been doing a lot for you offensively.
Well, you just look. I think all four of those D. You talk about Brody, Tanner, Brant, Luke Warner. He's got a couple points this year, and his game has just been getting better and better as the season has gone on. He kind of started the year as our fifth D, and just the way that he's worked his way into the lineup, he's just steady. He's got good angles. We're just been working a little bit more on his physical play, and that's coming around, and we're really pleased with his progress. You mentioned Chase. There's something happened to him, that Shanley game where his game, whether it was maturity or a light bulb went on, and he was just lights out that night, and he followed that up with just another great performance in our Breck-Wap game.
How satisfying is what you just said to a head coach? When you see that transition happen in front of your eyes, what that you knew could happen, and you're just wondering, when is it going to click, and then it does.
Yeah, and I think it's the belief. I've talked for years about it. Our sophomores, our freshmen, it's usually like January we expect. It takes them a while to adjust to that game, understand how important every game is, every shift is, and being able to play with that consistency. And that's something I think that only game time and being able to learn and get through the practice structure is about the only way that you can learn that. And, luckily it happened a little bit earlier than expected. Yeah. But it's sure fun to see them go, and now it's a matter of getting to the next level.
Right. I think every time you step on the ice, you should realize this isn't going to go on forever, right? Especially when you're a senior, it probably starts to kick in about now that, hey, I've only got a handful of games left as an Otter. This is not going to last more than 2 more months. I'm going to make the most of every shift out there because you never know when it can end, especially in sports when there are so many injuries that sideline you.
Things happen in a hurry out there, and it doesn't matter, I think, what sport it is. And
right.
Both teams are out there competing hard, and things happen. And you have one opportunity for 45 seconds to go out-compete your opponent. Then you can gather your thoughts, and then a minute and a half later, go try to do it all over again. So, it's a nice thing. We talk even all the time about hockey and how you got to compete. There's no out of bounds in hockey. There's no running. So you got chances where you got to be able to compete within those boards and be able to prove yourself every shift. Because to be honest, we got a lot of guys right now that are going, a lot of guys that are competing, a lot of guys that want ice time. And we tell the guys, make our decisions hard as coaches, and they're sure doing that right now.
That's a good thing. Yeah, they got to make you work for your pay here. The game against Breck-Wap, what a competitive battle that was. Shots were pretty even. You beat them 4-2, but boy, they brought it.
Yeah, and we knew that was going to happen, and the way we left a lot on the ice, I thought the game before against Shanley, the way that we went, and being able to try to refuel that next night and then get ready to go the next morning for a really important Section 6 game. And, our guys came out and we did what we needed to do to win that hockey game.
Well, and you had a couple of guys score right away for you. Brant Sherman and Colin Alt both scored. There's Colin. There's another one getting into it.
Yeah, Colin's he's gritty. That's what he brings. You need guys that are willing to go to the hard areas, willing to make plays, willing to sacrifice themselves for the betterment of the team. And Cullen is one of those guys that does that for us. And he was a goalie until Bantam, so he's only been skating out for just a couple of years. So he works extremely hard. He's coachable. He asks a lot of questions, and he really wants the team to succeed. And those are the kind of guys that you want in the lineup.
So now that you're through that holiday tournament, back now, starting today, getting into the schedule that's going to take you through the rest of the season, and it will go fast because by mid-February, you're looking at playoffs, so we don't have a whole lot of time left. You're more than halfway through your season right now.
Yeah, I think we're 11 games in, so we're going to have a real busy January, beginning of February here with a couple makeup games thrown in there as well.
Yeah, exactly. So today you've got Northern Lakes, and then you have Alexandria on the road Tuesday. That'll be a challenge, always is. And then Thief River comes in next Saturday. So you've got 3 games in a week. Is this the time of year you start to kind of toy with lines a little bit and move people around, or where you try to get settled into a combination? I know it's never something that's settled. You're always, as a head coach, looking to tweak things.
And that's what we've talked, I think, as a coaching staff earlier in the year. In the past, I feel like I've kind of settled in on things maybe a little prematurely. So our focus has been, let's remember what's worked, let's document what's worked, and it's okay to try some other things during this regular season. And later, as the season goes on, if we need to go back to that combination, that's been good for us. We always have that in our back pocket. And the other thing, we have had a couple guys with some injuries that happened early in the year. Jared Kennedy, Coulter McGinnis, both of those guys have been going full contact this week, so which is really encouraging. We're just going to kind of proceed with a little bit of caution still to make sure that they're ready to go. We don't need any setbacks at this point of the season, because that could be season ending if we try to jump the gun a little bit with them. So, but that's real promising too. That's just going to create another layer of competitiveness of guys that want to be in the lineup, that have some skill and also bring some grit to our team.
All right. Sounds good, Coach. We'll look forward to today's game against Northern Lakes, 2:00 at the Community Arena. We'll let Mark ask you about Northern Lakes on the pregame show, okay? So we'll tune in.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Good luck to the Otters. Mike Donahue, head coach of the Otter Boys hockey team. Remember to text the keyword Viking to 321-1926. Your chance to win that $25 gift certificate from the Viking Cafe. And we'll continue. We're going to talk some hoops on the other side of the break with Josh Steer of the Otter girls basketball team as the Coaches Show continues, presented by the Viking Cafe.
The key to a great meal is at the Viking Cafe of Fergus Falls. The Viking Cafe, with Minnesota's best omelet, manhole cover pancakes, and burgers that will fill your appetite. The key to a great breakfast and lunch is at the Viking Cafe, downtown Fergus Falls.
It's the indoor sale. Of course we moved all the vehicles inside so you can shop in comfort.
It's the indoor sale.
Of course we have cider and donuts.
It's the indoor sale. Of course Blake is practicing his dance moves.
It's the indoor sale.
Of course we have balloons.
It's our indoor sale. Of course all of our used inventory is on sale, and it comes with a Minnesota Motor $300 gift card.
It's the indoor sale at Minnesota Motor Company, Saturday, January 17th.
Lake Region Healthcare knows what all coaches know. It takes tons of teamwork, great amounts of grit, and heaps of hustle to triumph. Lake Region Healthcare, supporting and celebrating our high school athletes.
Nelson Auto Center in Fergus Falls is proud to sponsor area athletics. Nelson Auto knows the value of a good team, and we'd like to invite you in to meet our team. See how our team takes care of you and your family. Nelson Auto Center in Fergus Falls.
Running Stitches Embroidery in Fergus Falls is West Central Minnesota's leader in high-quality screen printing and custom embroidery. Whether you're looking for a one-of-a-kind custom job or need to outfit the entire team, Running Stitches Embroidery will be there when you need them.
What's your number? I drove 60 miles to get a great deal from Quality Toyota. I drove 45 miles to get a great deal from Quality Toyota.
The key to a great meal is at the Viking Cafe of Fergus Falls. The Viking Cafe, with Minnesota's best omelet, manhole cover pancakes, and burgers that will fill your appetite. The key to a great breakfast and lunch is at the Viking Cafe, downtown Fergus Falls.
Welcome back to the show. Josh Steer is with us, head coach of the Otter girls basketball team. Kind of been a strange few weeks here, Josh. You had your holiday tournament, and then you had a postponed game, and then you finally got to play last night, and you just crushed Rocori last night. Kind of, I don't want to say expected, but Rocori is down, and it's not one of the best teams on your schedule talent-wise, but you did what you had to do, right?
Yeah, you approach those games, the last couple of years we've kind of adopted the motto of who we play doesn't change how we play. So whether you're playing against, a Ricori who's kind of struggling to find their identity a little bit in their program and had some ups and downs over the years, but or you're playing Bemidji the next night. So they can't change how we approach how we're going to play. So, we wanted to jump out last night and bring the energy and defend and those things travel and those things don't depend on the ball going in the hoop. So we wanted to make sure we started off, maybe a little bit of rust early, maybe more mental rust than physical rust. But, we'd been off for 9 days as far as competitive games go. So you kind of expect to be thrown back into the lion's den a little bit. And it kind of showed. I thought early we were a little sluggish on the offensive side, but I thought we defended really well. So we kind of did the things we needed to do.
Sports teaches you so many lessons, and dealing with different situations, and adversity is one of them. And the other night when your game got postponed, it had already been a long time since you had played. So you were all geared up, ready to go. I'm sure felt pretty ready going in after practice and leading up to that, and excited to get back out there on the court. And then the letdown that, they're not coming because they've got bad roads, they close school. How do you deal with that as far as the kids getting kind of right back into it?
Yeah, and we found out, so Tuesday morning, Derek comes into the gym, I'm teaching, and says, Sauk Rapids canceled school today because of icy roads, so you're not going to have a game. And it's like, oh, really? And it's, it looks decent here, right? So you're kind of like, oh, man, that stinks. But then it's just, okay, we'll go to practice, and we'll work on the things we need to work on, and we'll get better. But, I think the girls were a little excited to play the game, and I don't think they were as excited to go to practice. But, we still got to do the work, and we still have to enjoy that process. So, it's just one of those things that you can't control the weather. And we've talked all year long, too, about controlling the controllables. And we've kind of been working on a next play mentality. So what a perfect way to put that into practice by saying, all right, well, we don't have a game, so let's just get back to work.
Well, in the game last night, you forced 31 turnovers. Defense has always been something you pride yourself in as a coach and as a team. How good is this team defensively? Last night maybe is not a good gauge, but what are you seeing that you really like about the team on the defensive end?
Yeah, when I look back to the Minnewaska game at the holiday tournament, we gave up 29 points in the first half. Going to halftime, kind of have the heart-to-heart of, are we going to be a defensive team? Because up to this point, we haven't really shown it. We've shown that we can just kind of outscore our opponents in some games. And so we kind of just got it down to, do we really want to be a tough defensive team? And if we do, we need to go win our one-on-ones on the defensive side. And you can't allow your girl to get into the paint, or you can't allow her to penetrate our defense and put pressure on it. So if you want to be a tough defensive team, you have to win your one-on-one. And I think we came out in the second half, and our ball control on the defensive side, I think, was phenomenal. And when you do that and you take away what they want to do, they Minnewaska wanted to drive middle, and they wanted to drive middle and kick to shooters, or they wanted to drive middle, and then they you keep that domino effect going of you create an advantage and then create another advantage. Well, we didn't let them create the initial. We didn't let them start the first domino, so to speak. So I think when you do that, the girls kind of made a conscious effort to buckle down and be a defensive team. And then you're feeling really good about that. And then you have 9 days off before you play again. But last night maybe a tougher judge to know if we did things well or not, because, I called the timeout and I said, I think we're getting rewarded for bad habits right now, because it doesn't take a whole lot of ball pressure to turn them over sometimes and force a mistake. But last night I feel like we made another step towards being a defensive team, and today we're gonna have to do the same thing.
63-19 was the final there. I talked to you a little bit after the game last night, and one of the good things, maybe the only good thing about the game like that, is you get a lot of kids a lot of minutes who maybe haven't had the opportunity to play varsity minutes.
Yeah, when anytime you can get on the big floor with a bigger crowd, you played a JV game, but it's a little bit different, and they put a little bit of pressure on themselves, and you could kind of see it last night when they get in the game that they want to perform well, they want to do the right things, and and it's really fun to see because they also want to score, right? Like you want to get on the stat sheet, and last night it was fun to watch a lot of different kids get in the game and contribute in one way, shape, or form. And when we talk about being a defensive team, I said in the post game locker room, like it doesn't matter if you scored or not tonight, ladies. What matters is you contributed to holding a team to 19 points, and if we're going to be a defensive program, not just a defensive team, but a defensive program. It takes all of us. And last night when those girls got their opportunity, they took advantage.
We have talked a few times this year about number of assists. You haven't had a whole lot of assists happening out there, passes that lead to baskets. Last night, that changed a little bit. Reese Keel had 4 assists for you last night. I think Carly Hurst had 3 and a couple for Ruby, and starting to add those up a little bit. How do you improve that stat or look to improve that stat? Obviously, you have to make the shot after getting the pass. That's one of the big things, but finding the open person and making that pass that leads to a good opportunity.
Yeah, and so on the offensive side, last night we talked about, a good shot versus a great shot. And the shot clock changes that a little bit too. You don't know, if you get a good look, you don't know if you're going to have enough time to get a great look. And sometimes I feel like our offense, we settle maybe for a contested layup. Maybe there's a defender, maybe there's 2, maybe we drew a second defender and we're trying to go up and finish. But how can we take that? And yeah, that might be a good shot. It might be an okay shot, but is there a better shot somewhere else? And can we find the open teammate? Can we make that extra pass to make that good shot turn into a great shot for someone else? So that was kind of the emphasis last night. And then I think another big thing that we've really been trying to improve upon is our transition offense. So pushing the ball up the floor, finding the person out in front of us. We have essentially 5 guards on the floor at a time. So you get the defensive rebound, or even if it's a make and you're inbounding the ball, you find somebody and then you look up the sideline and pitch the ball ahead and try to put a little pressure on the defense. And when you do that, you end up maybe with a layup, maybe with an uncontested mid-range, or maybe an uncontested outside shot. And right now I feel like the beginning of the year, we really struggled to get to that transition offensive point where we're getting some nice buckets in transition and some easy assists, so to speak. And last night I feel like we pushed the ball a little bit better.
How is this team progressing rebound-wise?
So last night, we've always had Hattie and Carly leading us in the rebounding category because a combination of factors: athleticism, mentality, basketball IQ, and work ethic. Right? If you have all of those things at a high level, you're going to be a really good rebounder. And last night, I feel like we had a lot of kids with a few rebounds. So everybody was rebounding last night. I think our leading rebounder was like maybe 6 or so, and then we had a few with 5 and a few with 4 and a few with 3. So, if we can become a team rebounding team, that's even better for us. We can rely on Hattie and Carly to do a lot of the work, but Presley Warren, you can go get rebounds too, and Ruby and even Reese and Grace Black and company. So I think we need to become a better rebounding team, top to bottom, and I think last night we maybe took some strides towards that.
Well, you're 8-2. You won your holiday tournament. You won the 3-point shooting contest too, didn't you?
Yeah,
in the holiday
Ruby and
tournament.
Hattie. Yeah. Yep, they won that one, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah. And who were your all-tournament players?
Oh, geez, put me on the
test
spot.
Your memory.
we had Hattie and Ruby. We had Carly and Reese.
Okay.
And then we had Presley Warren played outstanding in that tournament too. It was so fun to see her really break down or bear down kind of on the defensive side, and that created some offense for her too. So. But Reese Keel played really well in the point guard spot for us over the Christmas tournament too. Really solid, kind of what we need out of that spot, and I think she's starting to come into her own too.
Well, you've got a busy week here, starting today. Bemidji in town, and you were at Roosevelt last night. Back at Roosevelt today. Mm-hmm. Varsity scheduled for around 2:45, and you bookend this week with another Bemidji game at Bemidji next Saturday. And in between there, CI, which has one of the top players in the state to go for a commit.
Yep.
And then you go to St. Cloud, too. So kind of size up the week ahead.
Yeah, really weird starting the week on Saturday or today with Bemidji and then finishing it with Bemidji next week. But that's what Mother Nature did, right? It moved our game before Christmas to today. And unfortunately, we have to play them again in a week. And it's just kind of weird. But anyway, So Bemidji's really good. They have I think 2 or 3 losses on the year. Very solid, very seasoned group coming in. They've had kind of this, I feel like the same kids playing for a lot of years, which means they're going to be good, and they're well coached. So expect them to pick up full court pressure. Expect them to try to create some turnovers and play more in the full court. And then we go to Crosby Ironton, which will be a long road trip, but it'll be fun. It's a really cool atmosphere to play in. It's one of those gyms. It's not like Roosevelt, but it's a really tough place to play. And it's a really tough place to play because you're going in there playing against one of the best players in the state, in Tori Orline. And I don't know if she scored 5,000 yet, but she's darn close.
Unreal.
So there's that, and she's just hard to guard because she scores from everywhere, around the hoop, outside. Her range is crazy. And then she can score from the mid-range, but she really does a nice job. I really like the way she plays the game of basketball because she does the little things. She doesn't defend the greatest, because they sit in a zone, but she rebounds really well. She offensive rebounds really well and kind of steals points that way. And then we go to St. Cloud, and they're kind of, they beat Rocori by 20 the other day, but kind of a program that's new coach, had some girls come and go through the program over the years, and so hopefully we can go down there and take care of business, and then we round out going to Bemidji again next Saturday. So
all right,
we're getting into that grind in January and February where it's a lot of games and a little bit of practice time.
It's a good grind.
That's a good grind. It's awesome.
Thank you, Josh.
Awesome. Thanks, Craig.
Josh Steer, 8-2 Otters. Get to the gym today at Roosevelt and watch the action if you get a chance. All right, remember to text the keyword Viking to 321-1926. Your chance to win that $25 Viking gift certificate coming up here in the matter of less than a half an hour, actually. And we'll come back with more as our Coaches Show continues, presented by the Viking Cafe.
The key to a great meal is at the Viking Cafe of Fergus Falls. The Viking Cafe with Minnesota's best omelet, manhole cover pancakes, and burgers that will fill your appetite. The key to a great breakfast and lunch is at the Viking Cafe, downtown Fergus Falls.
It's the indoor sale. Of course we moved all the vehicles inside so you can shop in comfort.
It's the indoor sale.
Of course we have cider and donuts.
It's the indoor sale. Of course Blake is practicing his dance moves.
It's the indoor sale.
Of course we have balloons.
It's our indoor sale. Of course all of our used inventory is on sale, and it comes with a Minnesota Motor $300 gift card.
It's the indoor sale at Minnesota Motor Company, Saturday, January 17th.
Lake Region Healthcare knows what all coaches know. It takes tons of teamwork, great amounts of grit, and heaps of hustle to triumph. Lake Region Healthcare, supporting and celebrating our high school athletes.
Nelson Auto Center in Fergus Falls is proud to sponsor area athletics. Nelson Auto knows the value of a good team, and we'd like to invite you in to meet our team. See how our team takes care of you and your family. Nelson Auto Center in Fergus Falls.
Running Stitches Embroidery in Fergus Falls is West Central Minnesota's leader in high-quality screen printing and custom embroidery. Whether you're looking for a one-of-a-kind custom job or need to outfit the entire team, Running Stitches Embroidery will be there when you need them.
What's your number? I drove 60 miles to get a great deal from Quality Toyota. I drove 45 miles to get a great deal from Quality Toyota.
The key to a great meal is at the Viking Cafe of Fergus Falls. The Viking Cafe with Minnesota's best omelet, manhole cover pancakes, and burgers that will fill your appetite. The key to a great breakfast and lunch is at the Viking Cafe, downtown Fergus Falls.
On the radio, I'm like, oh, they play today. Okay.
All right, we're back. We're talking girls hockey. Isaac Vatnsdal is with us, and the Otter girls are back at it after their holiday tournament. Let's talk about that just a second here. Isaac, as far as the competition you saw down in Farmington, there's some good teams down there.
Well, and it's fun playing AA. I think anytime you can play AA and get that on the schedule, I think it's good for the girls. Win, lose, or draw, I think it's good just because of the fact that they have there's a compete factor that comes into play every time. It's a little bit faster, quicker decisions. You have to do things a little bit differently. So I think it's fun to always be able to try to step up to that.
How did they handle 3 games in 3 days?
Well, you get pretty tired, you know, and especially after Christmas and the sugar and all the food and everything, you kind of have that happen to you a little bit too, a little sluggish. But once you get going, I think it's fine. But no, they had a lot of good comments from. I knew some of the coaches down there, and some of the announcers were even telling us that you would never know that we were a single A team. We fit in really well, regardless of what the scores were. We fit in really well, so I thought that was good.
What did you learn down there as a coaching staff about these girls through that 3 games in 3 days?
Well, they want to be pushed. We've had many conversations, whether in the locker room or on the bus, at practice. They want to be pushed to try to be able to succeed. And, it's hard when in the regular season. I know you're talking that with Donahue a little bit when I was listening earlier.
Mm-hmm.
It matters, but it doesn't. You're trying to figure things out coming into, for us, February, right? At the beginning of February, end of January, you're trying to figure out what's going to happen for coming into sections. So they care. They care a lot, and they want to be successful in what they're doing. And it's tough. I told them yesterday that, climbing a mountain isn't easy. You have ups and downs and there's valleys, but you still got to keep sight of what you're doing. And we're trying to make the trek northward. So.
On Thursday, you played Brainerd Little Falls.
Yeah.
And they jumped off to a 2-0 lead. And to your girls' credit, they came back and tied the game 2-2, made it pretty exciting, and got that game winner late in the third period to get the victory at home. That's one of those wins that can go a long way towards shaping, the future games for you.
Well, and I think they saw what their potential can kind of look like. We've been working a lot on the offensive side, moving the puck, using each other, and being able to really get their speed up while moving the puck. So I think they saw that. I think we scored the right way, which was just gritty goals. It wasn't. Some of them weren't pretty, but you need those in order to be able to make sure you can compete and finish the goals and finish the opportunities, which I thought we did, and it was nice to be able to see that.
And Madison Brimhall had 2 of your goals to tie the game, 2 second period goals. One was unassisted. Seems like you've had a lot of unassisted goals.
Yes, we've had a lot of unassisted goals, and I think a lot of that. I don't want to say it's individual play, but a lot of them, it seems like our goals have come from breakaways or have come from opportunities where we've taken away from the D. Like Brindley's overtime or not overtime, 30 seconds left in the game goal. That was a great bounce that she got, and she was able to chip it up and then go down and get the burners going and get a nice goal there at the end to win it. But yeah, it does seem like there's a lot of unassisted goals. But yesterday there was a lot of play that gave us some opportunities that we were happy to see as well.
Fair to say when you have that number of unassisted goals, it's because you have a lot of creative players with the puck who can make some opportunities for themselves?
Yeah, and I think they jump on the chance when they have it. And I think they've been very nose to the grindstone, like just they see it, they go, right?
Yeah.
Type of thing. And we're really trying to broaden that out a little bit so that they have a little bit more of a kind of a widened, broader look to see what's out there in comparison to just going to the net. And, yesterday there was a couple nice goals that, we'd cycle the puck, we'd move it, pass to the slot. I want to start seeing some more of those a little bit, moving it out to the D and getting some rebounds, getting some screens. It'll happen. I'm still optimistic. At everything. Every time I think I text you, for after the game, I'm optimistic that it's coming. We just got to string together not only 3 periods, but also in all 3 zones. We have to string together consistency.
That's the word I see in every one of your texts. We need to be more consistent.
Yes.
So you're striving to get there.
I'm trying to find different words to send to you because it's probably pretty boring that it's the same thing every single time.
No, you're working hard at it. Well, let's talk about last night because Thief River, they kind of took it to you up in Thief River not that long ago.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that was talked about during the last few days in prep for the rematch with them. And boy, you came out strong and had that 3-1 lead. And then the third period happened, and you knew Thief River could not be held down for the whole game. They were going to have their moments.
No, they're a good team and they have good players. You don't only lose 4 games for nothing. They have a good record. They have a good team, and you got to tip their hat to them for them coming back, just like what we did to Brainerd the night before. We talked about that in between the second and third. We were down by 2 and came back, and we were up by 2 last night, and they came back, unfortunately. So we came out strong the first and second, and we built on the momentum that we had in the second and third from the Brainerd game, which I thought was good. I thought they responded well. The girls did. But we need to also figure out how, again, consistently to be able to bring that into the third period and just talking to Arneson here before the interview. I'm still kind of worked up a little bit that we lost that game.
Yeah.
It's not fun, to lose those that way. But you have to have a short-term memory and figure out things that you need to work on. And I think the D zone is one area that we kind of broke down a little bit. In the first and second, Thief River didn't really have it in our zone very often. Sem played a fantastic game. She was able to stop some breakaways that we had early that kept us in the game. And, coming into the third period, we just kind of started running around a little bit in our D zone. So we have to, tighten that up a little bit and keep them to the outside, do a little bit better that way.
Well, they had 17 shots through the first two periods and 15 in the third period. So they obviously were a much better offensive team, or you were a much not as good defensive team in that final 18 minutes, and tried to hold a lead.
Yeah.
That's something you have to learn too. How do you protect a lead?
No, you do. And I think, just in coaching and being around hockey and just any sport in general, you have to play to continue to win, instead of playing not to lose. And I think there's a mentality shift with that. And that's a learned thing. It just doesn't come. And I think, again, not a section game, not a conference game. It still matters in regards to our process and what we're trying to do. Still a lot of positives, still a lot of good things. However, we're coming into the end of the season where at some point, you can have a lot of positives, but if the negatives are what's going to get you. So, the tone has changed a little bit, and I think the girls have sensed that, but they've also responded well to it because they understand the need to focus because it's coming into where it's going to really matter here soon.
Avery Tonneson had a couple of assists for you last night. Hannah Johnson had a goal and an assist for you. You're getting a lot of different kids involved. Rachel DeBrito scored for you.
Yep.
You're able to get production from a lot of different kids right now.
Yeah, and that's what's nice. I mean, you look at the, especially the top couple lines, and then we look at the power play. We switched up the power play when we were down in the cities last week, and threw Rachel up front. And we were kind of joking because I said we want to. Be a big body in front there. And right away, all five girls look at me, and then they laugh and they make a joke about it. I'm like, oh, gee, probably can't say that, type of thing. But it was just, she's strong. She's very strong in comparison to a lot of girls. And especially when you have a defenseman, you throw her up front, they're used to being in front. They're used to those shots coming at them. So they're not really going to shy away as much typically. And she's gotten a couple goals now on power play from those rebound goals, which has been nice to see. Right. And I'm hoping that it just keeps coming where we start getting some more opportunities from cycling the puck, using the defenseman, kind of a tic-tac-toe, if you will, being a little more tactical. And I think the fans, and I think a lot of people in the stands saw a lot of what we've been working on. It's been nice to see because they've been passing it well. They've been moving well, and you can see what they can do if they keep doing that.
Brooks Zierden got a goal for you last night. Avery had an assist on that. So did Shea Katzenmeyer. Brooke, she had some injuries earlier this year. Is she recovered totally now?
Fully recovered.
Good,
fully recovered. And it was great to be able to have her back. She's done really well for us at the D side, and she has a hard shot, and she works hard. So it's nice to be able to have her fully.
All right, this week you got to buckle down now, right? You got 3 games coming up, starting Tuesday at Alexandria. That's never easy. And then Thursday at St. Cloud. And then Friday you're back home with Sartell Sauk Rapids. That's the makeup, right?
The makeup game from this last Tuesday,
So 3 games in a matter of 5 days here once you get back to school. And that's a challenge.
It is. And, just like Mark and I were talking about after the game last night, it's coming into tournament time. You have game after game after game, so you have to kind of get geared up and ready for that. I think we've done a good job of getting them well conditioned at the beginning of the year to kind of get ready to kind of push through the end of this. And when we didn't have, and this is actually a pretty comical, but when we didn't have a game on Tuesday, when it got postponed, Coach Arneson had thrown out a message to all the girls that we have practice from 5 to 8. And he got messages saying, is that a typo? Is that real? So we were out there for 3 hours. We had an hour and a half and an hour and a half. We had ice in between. And we worked on a lot of things. And we were able to we were methodical and slow to be able to kind of explain things. So it was good, to be able to take that, be able to have that time, because you don't get that often, on the ice schedule.
Especially during the season.
Yeah. No, it just doesn't happen. So, so we push them hard, but they're learning a lot and they're absorbing a lot. And now it's just needing to start turning to be a little bit more instinctual. But I think their legs are there, and into these next couple weeks, it's going to show whether or not that's actually true, because 3 games is tough every week. So
All right. Well, 3-2 win over Brainerd Little Falls on that late goal by Brinley Scholl. Fun for her. And then 5-3 loss to Thief River last night. The Otters with 3 games in 5 days coming up Tuesday. Thanks, Isaac.
Yeah,
Appreciate it,
Craig. Thank you.
Isaac Vatnsdal, head coach of the Otter girls hockey team. We have a half hour left. We're going to talk gymnastics. Otters are having a great year. Satara Harlow will join us, and we're also talking Hillcrest girls basketball. Hannah Clark coached her 100th career win last night with the Comets, so we'll have that to talk about. And we'll also find out who wins that $25 gift certificate from the Viking Cafe. You have one more chance here to text the keyword Viking to 321-1926, and then we'll tell you who the winner is between our next 2 interviews. Okay, so don't go away. We'll continue with more on the Coaches Show presented by the Viking Cafe.
The key to a great meal is at the Viking Cafe of Fergus Falls. The Viking Cafe with Minnesota's best omelet, manhole cover pancakes, and burgers that will fill your appetite. The key to a great breakfast and lunch is at the Viking Cafe, downtown Fergus Falls.
It's the indoor sale. Of course we moved all the vehicles inside so you can shop in comfort.
It's the indoor sale.
Of course we have cider and donuts.
It's the indoor sale. Of course Blake is practicing his dance moves.
It's the indoor sale.
Of course we have balloons.
It's our indoor sale. Of course all of our used inventory is on sale, and it comes with a Minnesota Motor $300 gift card.
It's the indoor sale at Minnesota Motor Company, Saturday, January 17th.
Lake Region Healthcare knows what all coaches know. It takes tons of teamwork, great amounts of grit, and heaps of hustle to triumph. Lake Region Healthcare, supporting and celebrating our high school athletes.
Nelson Auto Center in Fergus Falls is proud to sponsor area athletics. Nelson Auto knows the value of a good team, and we'd like to invite you in to meet our team. See how our team takes care of you and your family. Nelson Auto Center in Fergus Falls.
Running Stitches Embroidery in Fergus Falls is West Central Minnesota's leader in high-quality screen printing and custom embroidery. Whether you're looking for a one-of-a-kind custom job or need to outfit the entire team, Running Stitches Embroidery will be there when you need them.
What's your number? I drove 60 miles to get a great deal from Quality Toyota. I drove 45 miles to get a great deal from Quality Toyota.
The key to a great meal is at the Viking Cafe of Fergus Falls. The Viking Cafe with Minnesota's best omelet, manhole cover pancakes, and burgers that will fill your appetite. The key to a great breakfast and lunch is at the Viking Cafe, downtown Fergus Falls.
Hey, welcome back to the show, and welcome to Satara Harlow. I've been trying to get Satara on for a couple of years, but her schedule has not worked out real well with our schedule, and that happens. But I'm so glad you're here to talk about your team right now.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Hey, what a great start. I mean, you got to be having some fun with this group. But my first question is, how long have you seen this coming with this group, Satara? Because you've been around the program for quite a while. You've seen these kids come up through it. How long have you known this is a special group?
Well, the last couple of years coming up, we could tell it was going to, all start hitting right. We have kids that train all year round, those types of things through the club and all those other things. But we have a group who really, really enjoys gymnastics. So that helps.
How hands-on have you been as a varsity head coach with some of the youth programs that are going on?
Pretty hands-on. That's kind of my day job.
Yeah, there you go.
So other than coaching high school gymnastics, I coach the youth and all those different programs. So it's really fun.
And the numbers are great right now.
Mm-hmm. We do have a lot of kids. Like I said, they love gymnastics and they keep coming back and they encourage their friends to come, and it's a lot of fun.
Well, and when you have the success and they see the success at this level, it just makes it more appealing, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, everybody wants to be a part of something, so it's fun to be a part of something that's going really well.
Right. Let's go back to the Park Rapids Invitational, because that was that's just a week ago.
Yep.
Yeah. Seems like it was longer ago than that, doesn't it? But the meets have been coming pretty quickly for you. But you had a great performance there and a great battle with the Park Rapids. You wound up winning by less than 1 point team-wise. Yes. What was your evaluation of the way you performed in that setting, that invitational?
Well, I thought the kids did really well before then, it had been, quite a while since we had a meet. So we had a lot of time to prep. We had a lot of new skills and new routines being shown for the first time. We had a lot of successful things. We had a few things to go home and work on.
Yep.
But overall, I think they did really well.
You had a school record set there.
We did. It was awesome. Mia Jenin broke the school record on bars with a 9:05. It was a beautiful routine.
Are we going to see more school records from this group?
We're hoping so. We're working on it. Yes.
I would think it's real possible right now with what we're seeing there. And we need to talk about Ziamara Jacobson because she had first in the vault, first on the floor, and first all around that day in that invitational at Park Rapids. And that's kind of normal for her, right? Because she's just been winning, it seems like, multiple events every time you hit the mats.
Yeah, she is a very strong performer. And, her routines have been coming along the last couple of years. And she's just in a place where she's hitting right now. She's prepped and she's ready to rock it this season.
What do you work with Ziamara? What are your goals with her right now when she has the success as far as first place finishes and good scores? What are you trying to make her better at?
Honestly, it's just a lot of prep work, a lot of doing things under pressure because you don't realize that. There's a lot of pressure when all eyes are on, when it feels like all eyes are on you. She's got a couple of things here and there we're hoping to add in before the end of season and just working on nice, clean routines that perform well and score well, hopefully.
I think of sports, obviously, it's a physical thing, but it's also a very mental thing. Mm-hmm. And I think gymnastics, I think of golf and gymnastics as being maybe two of the most where you have to just be so focused. You can't take your mind off, what you're doing on the bars or the vault. You just have to be focused. How do you teach, mental awareness out there and just mental focus?
Well, that's a tough one. We try to put as many real meet situations as we can. We'll all stop and watch or feel like there's a lot of eyeballs on you, or we'll do a lot of we call them distraction practice, where people just make a lot of noise and throw stuff around and you have to focus on what you're doing and try to block out all the rest.
Right.
And we try to just as much, it's an unbelievable amount of prep work. You can't play defense in gymnastics. So you just have to feel like you're prepped and ready for anything.
Well, it's obviously working, whatever you're doing, because these girls are just so consistent right now and turning in so many great performances. And one of the exciting performances was the win over Alexandria. Anytime you beat the Cardinals, it feels good, right?
Yeah.
Because they've had a strong program through the years.
They have. We've kind of gone back and forth with them through the past few years, and it is always fun to compete against them regardless of outcome because it's going to be a close meet usually.
Well, and they have a real good gymnast too. I can't think of her name now. Their top gymnast.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Who I hate that when it comes. It's not in my mind right now. But she was. They were tough again, and you didn't get a lot of first places, but that doesn't matter because you took a lot of seconds, thirds, and fourths in that. The depth on your team right now. Esther Covington had a third on the vault, Elsa Bailey on the beam, Mia, who we talked about on the floor, and the all-around. Riley Kubel has been doing it for you. Natalie Shear's been doing it for you. You've got some great depth here that are scoring points for you.
We really do. All the way down through our JV team, we honestly have fabulous depth, and we could almost rotate anybody in and out of that fourth and fifth spot, and they're doing so well and working so hard.
So how do you decide on those spots when you have such depth? Is there a challenge format that you use in practice, or is it
makes it tough? A lot of it is mental preparedness. Sometimes when you have that varsity spot, that's hard to, oh my gosh, I should be doing something different. No, you keep doing your same thing. So a lot of it is mental preparation. A lot of it is just consistency and practice, those types of things.
Well, and you did mention it goes right through the JV, and your JV's been doing as well as the varsity has. They're winning every time out, and again, great depth on the JV. In your match with the Moorhead Spuds, and it's always fun to beat Moorhead too, by the way, Alexandria and Moorhead, but you turned in a very impressive performance against Moorhead.
Yeah, they did very well. All the prep work finally came together and they were hitting. We still have some things we need to work on at practice. I think our team score can still improve and go up. But they went out and they hit for our senior night, and it was really fun to watch.
Are you hitting like record scores every time? It seems like you've set that record and broken it several times, you know?
Yes. I think last year our record now stands at a 143.
Oh boy.
It's going to be it was a pretty high number. It's going to be tough to beat, but I think we can inch up to it.
Yeah. That's outstanding. Is there one event, Satara, where you're weaker than the others, where you're trying to bolster the event?
I would balance beam is probably our little bit of weak point right now. Again, that goes to the mental toughness. Balance beam is hard, and we graduated a lot of our beam workers over the last couple of years. So a lot of these kids are kind of up there doing it on varsity for the first time. So we're just trying to get some extra confidence there, which is slowly coming.
And what would you say is your strongest event overall right now, where you have the most options?
Oh, that's a tough one. Probably bars is a pretty strong event for us. We do very well through our varsity and JV. I would say that or floor would be our strongest events.
So you are in a tough section also, as we know through the years. What are your goals? What do you think realistically this team can accomplish?
Realistically, we would like to take top 2 in the section would be our goal. It is a really tough section. Usually the state champion for single A comes out of Section 8A. So it's tough to even get down to state, but we have our eyes set on sending a couple kids, hopefully.
All right. Well, that I think you're on target, for sure. This week, you're at Sartell, Central Lakes Conference teams. And is it a competitive conference, or does most of your stiffer competition come, from your section and some of the non-conference opponents?
I think our probably toughest competition comes from between the CLC and our section. They're pretty tough because usually a lot of them are either that 8 single A or 8 double A, and those are pretty dominant sections.
Right. Yeah, they are. And Sartell on Tuesday, what do they bring to the table?
They have a pretty strong team, it looks like, this year, so I'm looking forward to a really competitive meet.
How hard is it to scout opponents? Do you have pretty good access online in gymnastics?
For the most part, yeah. A lot of the scoring systems, if you want to look up anything, if they use our scoring same system as us, you can kind of look and see, but you never know for sure. You don't know if they had a on day or an off day.
Sure. Okay. And you have a home meet scheduled for Thursday with Fargo South. I don't know how many home meets you wind up with. Not a lot. So every one of those is kind of important for the girls to be able to compete at home.
Yeah, we really enjoy our home meets. Fargo South will be a new meet for us. So we're excited to see how that goes.
And tell us about the coaching staff. Who's working with you?
My assistant coaches are James Harlow and Carrie Pappin, and they're a wonderful staff. They really... I'm trying to find the right word.
Yeah.
They're really encouraging of the kids, and, they get a lot out of them with their encouragement. And
yep. And they compliment you well, I think. You work together well, and that's so important as a head coach, right?
We really enjoy working together. They're like my best friends. So
there you go. Well, that's
it's always
important.
fun to do things you like with your friends.
Especially when you do so much of it during this time of the year. So.
Right.
Well, good luck this week and continued success as you head toward the postseason, and hopefully we can catch up with you again and find out how many kids you are sending down to state.
Yes, thank you so much.
So Tara Harlow is the head coach of the outer gymnastics team, and we will come back. I'm going to draw. Well, Dave's going to draw. He's going to tell me who the winner is of that $25 Viking Cafe gift certificate. So don't go away. If you entered, you might be the winner. So we'll come back with more after this time out on the Coaches Show, presented by the Viking Cafe.
The key to a great meal is at the Viking Cafe of Fergus Falls. The Viking Cafe with Minnesota's best omelet, manhole cover pancakes, and burgers that will fill your appetite. The key to a great breakfast and lunch is at the Viking Cafe, downtown Fergus Falls.
It's the indoor sale. Of course we moved all the vehicles inside so you can shop in comfort.
It's the indoor sale.
Of course we have cider and donuts.
It's the indoor sale. Of course Blake is practicing his dance moves.
It's the indoor sale.
Of course we have balloons.
It's our indoor sale. Of course all of our used inventory is on sale, and it comes with a Minnesota Motor $300 gift card.
It's the indoor sale at Minnesota Motor Company, Saturday, January 17th.
Lake Region Healthcare knows what all coaches know. It takes tons of teamwork, great amounts of grit, and heaps of hustle to triumph. Lake Region Healthcare, supporting and celebrating our high school athletes.
Nelson Auto Center in Fergus Falls is proud to sponsor area athletics. Nelson Auto knows the value of a good team, and we'd like to invite you in to meet our team. See how our team takes care of you and your family. Nelson Auto Center in Fergus Falls.
Running Stitches Embroidery in Fergus Falls is West Central Minnesota's leader in high-quality screen printing and custom embroidery. Whether you're looking for a one-of-a-kind custom job or need to outfit the entire team, Running Stitches Embroidery will be there when you need them.
What's your number?
I drove 60 miles to get a great deal from Quality Toyota. I drove 45 miles to get a great deal from Quality Toyota.
The key to a great meal is at the Viking Cafe of Fergus Falls. The Viking Cafe with Minnesota's best omelet, manhole cover pancakes, and burgers that will fill your appetite. The key to a great breakfast and lunch is at the Viking Cafe, downtown Fergus Falls.
Oh, we're on. Live TV, kind of. This is Hannah Clark. 100 career wins for Hannah as coach of the Hillcrest girls basketball team. I don't know how much they heard of your telling me that, but if anything, but you weren't even aware that was happening.
No, and I just think wins are a lot of fun, but that's obviously not the reason why I coach, and I think most coaches would say the same. It's about the girls and the team and the relationships you get to have with them, and I always say just, winning is the cherry on top. Don't get me wrong, if you ask my girls, they know that I like to win and I'm competitive. But it was just so fun to be able to celebrate with them. They're such a great group of girls. And I love getting to do what I do.
And you were worried you missed a milestone that somebody had accomplished.
I did. I saw them holding up signs and I thought, oh no, I forgot to congratulate someone. And then it finally clicked and it was just a fun night.
I love it. Yeah. And the girls, they enjoyed it, I'm sure. 76-19, the final over Parkers. But that was the fourth game of the week.
It was.
You
yes.
won all four. That's
yes.
good.
Yep. We had one of our games that was a makeup from a snow day, and with 4 games in a week, you just never know. Our tired leg's going to come into effect. But these girls, I thought, played through it. They said, there was some soreness and things like that, but we talked about, not letting that bother you and be able to be mentally tough and push through any soreness or tiredness, and I thought they did just that.
You have got to be as tough a team to defend as any team, certainly in the area, but maybe in the state. With the lineup that you put out there and your ability to score from many places, but even more than that, with your defense, you have some really favorable matchups because of how aggressive you are defensively.
Yes, and we've got 5 girls that can defend all 5 positions, which is great. We have our post player, Nevaeh Stender, but we make her get out on the perimeter and defend the guards, and we teach our guards to get in and defend the posts, and so we just want to be able to make it as tough as possible for teams to score and to, maybe they're trying to find some mismatches. And so we have really put it into the girls' minds that if we're going to win games, there's going to be times where maybe we go 1 for 30 from the 3-point line, and we're going to have to find ways to win, and that's to defend. And so they've really, really set their mind to it. They've took on that challenge, and we continue to see our defense getting better and better each game.
1 for 30 is not going to happen. I want you to know that.
I don't know. It has happened before.
All right.
Doesn't mean we stop shooting, but it has happened.
Yes. Good 3-point shooters never stop shooting.
Yes.
Last Saturday was the start of this week, and you played Breckenridge, and there was a little build-up to that one because Breck's a very good team, a highly respected team, and you had a battle with them, but took a first-half lead. I think you're up 9 at halftime and wound up winning by 5. What were the keys to that one?
Yep, just staying mentally tough and focusing on our defense. We got up by, I think you said 9 or something like that, and Breckenridge actually, down the stretch, came and took the lead and got up by 5. And at that point, we took a timeout, and you said we just have to be more disciplined, get focused, get stops on defense. And on there, I think we went on an 11-0 run to finish out the game. And that just shows our girls when they put their minds to it and they really think about the task that needs to get done, they can be a really good team. I was super proud. We got into foul trouble. We had Emmy and Avea sitting on the bench the majority of the second half. And so we played with 5 girls. And at about the 7-minute mark, a couple of them looked over like, we're kind of tired. And I said, I know, but you got to keep playing. And so, Brooke Swedberg, Stella Moline came in and played huge minutes for us in a crucial game, in a game that wasn't a 20-point game, but it was a close game and where we had to, get some stops and make some baskets. And I thought they came in with confidence. And I just thought our girls played so tough down the stretch.
Well, as you mentioned, you got down 5, and I know you've had so many different kids step in and do different things.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if I am recalling correctly here, Elsa hit a key 3. Ella went to the line and made a couple of clutch free throws.
Yep.
Elin made a tremendous steal, anticipating a pass. Everybody just stepping up and making a play for you.
Yep. And, it's really easy when you have the lead the whole game. The other team comes back, overtakes that lead. It's easy to kind of cave and fall apart at that moment. But our girls stayed tough. They never were worried. They were very confident. And yes, Elsa knocked down a huge 3. I think Ella only had 2 points in that game, but they were the 2 biggest free throws of the game. So her to come up and step up to the line with confidence was great. Brooke Swedberg came in and defended so well. It was fun to see, really putting pressure on their guards so they weren't able to get into their offense or set up a good play when they needed a basket. And so I just thought the girls really stepped up in ways that we needed them to.
And you're rebounding.
Yes.
I mean, everybody had 7 rebounds, it looks like.
I think last week they were a little bit tired of us coaches telling them that we need to box out. We need to do a better job of rebounding. We need to crash the offensive boards. And so they said, we're sick of doing rebounding drills in practice, so we're just going to show that we can do it in games so we don't have to do that anymore. Mm-hmm. And they did a really good job with that. I think the last 4 games we've out-rebounded our opponent. And I always say, whatever team has more possessions has more opportunities to score, and so we want to put ourselves in the best position to do so.
You came off that win with a win over Border West, beat them 63-24. And again, you had, 4 players in double figures. Mm-hmm. You just have had such balanced scoring. Are you in your offense? How would you describe your offense in a set? Are you aggressive offensively? Are you patient? Do you want the great shot, not the good shot? What would you say?
We're still trying to figure that out. No, if you ask our girls, it's let's go and let's take that first shot that we get. As coaches, we're challenging them to try and get 3, 4, 5 actions, whether it's a ball reversal, an attack and kick, because we don't want to have to play defense the whole game. And so if we can make the other team play a little bit of defense, we think that's going to put us in a good position. But I thought this week, especially, our offense was flowing so nicely. Everyone was touching the ball. Everyone had multiple shots. Our off-ball movement was great, which makes it so hard to defend, rather than let's get the ball to Elsa and just watch and see what she can do. When she had it, everyone was moving. Everyone was cutting to the basket. So all 5 defenders couldn't just focus on her. And that's our next step to really being productive on the offensive end, is making sure that we're not just one-dimensional with one person when they have the ball, but we're trying to get everyone involved. And I thought this week we took a big step forward.
How are teams approaching defending the Comets and Elsa in particular? Elsa and Elin combined for 47 against Breck. Mm-hmm. They're your top 2 scorers consistently.
Yep.
What are you seeing defensively from
the center of every defense is it's all centered around Elsa. Try not to let her get going. But the nice thing is we've got girls so confident to step up. We've got Elin who can score. We've got Ella. We've got Avea who's inside and who's been playing really well for us. And then we've got Brooke, who has all of a sudden just been so assertive on offense and looking for her shot and attacking the hoop. And everyone's doing such a good job. So they know that, yes, Elsa needs to get her shots. Elin needs to get her shots. But we need everyone else to step up too. And, we kind of say if everyone else can get in that scoring column, whether it's 4 points, 8 points, if we can get another in double figures, that's great. But our girls just are continually being encouraged that if you are open, take that shot, because we need other people to step up on any given night. And so they're just doing a good job with that.
We love the 3-ball, all right? I mean, everybody loves it. But are you seeing growth in your girls being able to move inside that 3-point line and get some short-range jumpers and maybe even penetrate to the basket?
Yes, and that's when we always said, we're going to get 3-point shots. We can get a 3-point shot really any time in the possession. And so challenging them to get in the paint, get it into the post, work it around, because we're so good around the hoop. Elsa's got a great mid-range jump shot. So does Ella. Emmy's got a nice little runner in the paint. And so encouraging them to do that, to put pressure on the defense, that they just don't have to guard the 3 and then box out. And so we continually encourage them to find different ways to score. And it's fun watching them progress as the season goes on.
Are you at a point, Hannah, where you're in a pretty predictable rotation? Are you getting the way you want to have your girls coming in and out of the lineup?
We are, except we laugh. We tend to be in foul trouble. And so when we get into foul trouble, that can throw off our rotations a little bit. But other than that, our girls are doing good. And really, anyone we throw in at any given point can come in and keep that momentum going with our team. And so we've been joking, anytime we have a bad foul in practice, an unnecessary foul where maybe we reach down or go over the back, we call them 5 push-up fouls. And when that happens, everyone gets down and has to do 5 push-ups. And in games, I think yesterday, Avea Sender had an over the back. She kind of looked at me and I'm like, 5 push-ups? And she's like, really? And I said, no, you don't have to do it now. No. But so that's our goal is, no 5 push-up fouls. We want to be aggressive. We want to be intense on defense. But we want to make sure that we're being smart at the same time.
Yes, and and being intense will lead to fouls for sure. That's for sure. But it will also lead to steals and opportunities.
Yes.
So hey,
yes,
kind of balance that. Well, you have won 12 in a row.
Mm-hmm.
That first game loss
Yes.
is a distant memory.
Yes.
And now you're moving into a week where you've got 2 really tough Little 8 conference games. Rothsay's really improved this year. Anita's done a nice job over there, and of course, Underwood on Friday, they're always tough and a good matchup for the Comets. Kind of give us a little breakdown on the matchups this week.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough week. Like you said, Rothsay has been playing so well, and they're one of those scary teams. If they get confident and start shooting well, they can throw up a lot of points really quickly. So we're going to have to defend well. They play a 1-3-1 zone, and they're getting really good and consistent with that. So we're going to have to take care of the ball. But that should be a good game. I'm happy to have them at home the first time we played them. Our girls have a sense of comfort there, but it's going to be a tough game. And like I said, Anita has done such a good job with that crew, and it's so fun to watch them play. So looking forward to that game. It's our first time that we've played them. I think they're the last team in the conference that we haven't played.
Savannah Sullivan, too. You got to control her, huh?
Yes. She is so good, and she has really been looking for her shot. And she's one, if she sees one go through the net, she's really going to start shooting more. And so, limit her shots and making sure that she has to work for every shot she gets. And then Friday we head to Underwood, and that's always a fun, competitive game, a big rivalry. So we're looking forward to that too. Always fun once you get through the conference once and you start playing teams the second time. What adjustments do team makes? What adjustments are we going to make? And our conference is just so good. All of us coaches have been talking about, you can't really look at scores and say, well, this team beat this team beat this team by a lot, because everyone is winning and losing and beating teams. And so it's kind of like who comes ready to play. And so I think in our conference here, I was like, well, I just hope the team that we play maybe has an off night, because if they're playing well, every team in our conference has a chance to win.
Yeah. And Underwood's a different team to prepare for now without Callan Grove. You're preparing for her for the last few years.
Yes, and they're playing well, and they've got girls really stepping up and finding their groove and being able to score. So it should be a fun game.
All right, great.
Yep.
Thanks, Hannah.
Thank you so much.
David, who's our winner?
Becky Oden.
Becky Oden. All right. I think Becky won earlier, too. She's just a lucky girl. That's all there is to it.
I'll check if she won. We'll draw somebody else.
We'll draw another one? Oh, well, Becky won't like that, but we'll get her one anyway. She'll get one too. All right. Hey, thanks to Pat Schill and all the folks at the Viking for presenting the Coaches Show every Saturday and providing breakfast for the coaches. Did you eat yet, Hannah?
I have not.
Take it with you.
Yes.
All right. Don't want to leave the Viking Cafe food sitting. So
Never.
Thanks to David Bishop and thanks to our sponsors and for you tuning in. We appreciate that. And we'll be here again next Saturday, 8 to 9:30 with our Coaches Show presented by the Viking Cafe.
Thank you for joining us for the Newstalk 1250 KBRF Coaches Show presented by the Viking Cafe and brought to you by the Minnesota Motor Company, Lake Region Healthcare, Nelson Auto Center, Quality Toyota, and Running Stitches.